"1960 saw the release of the first Corgi Circus item. The Chipperfield's crane truck, 1121, was painted in red with large blue Chipperfield Circus raised lettering. This model features a working crane, operated by turning a handle at the rear. It also has a tin plate jib, which could be raised or lowered by means of a notched lever. This was a large and colourful model and was manufactured until 1969. The final sales approached 500,000 models, making it probably one of the most common of the circus models, with only one notable variation in its production life. The first models released had a grey-painted jib assembly, which changed to a chrome pressing in about 1966. A more subtle variation was the wheels, which were either pressed onto the axles or mounted on an axle with peened ends, so that the wheels could rotate independently of each other. The early models were released in a hard-card, lift-off lidded box, which had inner packaging to hold the model in place. Later releases were packaged in a soft box with end flaps, but with similar inner packing. This change coincided with the chrome jib variation, and the box graphics were altered accordingly. Included in each box was a leaflet with instructions on repairing the winding cord should it break. This was quite a common occurrence if one considers some of the household implements like Mummy's vacuum cleaner, which was subjected to lifting manoeuvres by this realistic model. Hard on the heels of the crane truck was a companion model, the Circus Animal Cage number 1123. This was a beautiful model which featured suspension and 7 opening doors. A moulded nylon tow bar and tow hook enabled the young collector to tow any number of cages behind his crane lorry. The model was packed initially with a pair of lions, one male and one female, but later versions included polar bears or tigers. Transfers were included for application to the sides of the model, indicating its load. It would appear from loose transfers found that brown bears and gorillas had also been considered, but none have been seen. Early models had die-cast doors and cage dividers, but these soon changed to a hard plastic type. Later models had doors of a more pliable material, possibly to prevent too many breakages of these vulnerable parts. The hinged cover doors were spring-loaded and opened to reveal the bars across each cage front. The dividing door pulled out to allow the animals to move from one compartment to another. The only variation was to the wheels, which could be of either smooth or shaped aluminium type. The models were originally boxed in a hard-card lidded box, with paper leaflets illustrating the animal content and transfer fixing details. Later issues were packed in a soft-card end-flap box, and usually contained 2 pairs of animals with the appropriate transfers. Withdrawn in 1968 after sales of over 300,000, this model is not rare, but is difficult to find in perfect condition. The first Chipperfield gift set was catalogued as number 12. Released in 1961, it contained 1121, the crane truck, and 1123, the animal cage. Neatly packed in a hard-card box, this set is scarce, particularly with its inner packing and leaflets. The models were standard issues, but as the set was withdrawn in 1964, it should not contain the crane truck with the chrome jib. The cage could have smooth or shaped hubs and contain polar bears or lions. The next Chipperfield model was number 426, the booking office. This was basically a repaint of the standard mobile shop comma carrier. It had suspension and decorative labels and transfers depicting circus clown, animals, and booking staff. There are no known variations to model or box, but the model has been seen with the clown label applied nearer to the rear of the near-side panels. Slight colour variations have also been noticed. Fairly low sales saw the model withdrawn in 1964, and it is a rare item today. 1962 also saw the release of Gift Set 19. Its full title was Chipperfield's Land Rover with elephant and cage on trailer. A long title indeed for this very novel model. The Land Rover was essentially a repaint of the standard Land Rover, as was the red and blue trailer. The cage and elephant, however, were new items. The plastic cage opened up to reveal a moulded elephant, which can be removed. The cage had a hook on top to allow the whole assembly to be lifted by the crane truck. Early versions of the cage had metal bars on the opposite end of the hinge doors. These were replaced in later models by a clear plastic panel with simulated bars. The hook was also changed for a more durable item. The plastic construction was in brown or grey plastic, making for a few possible variants. Early versions of the Land Rover had a blue-painted tin tilt, whereas later issues were fitted with a blue plastic version. The models were issued in a soft card box and mounted on a neat cardboard display base. Rubber bands kept the cage on its trailer, and comprehensive packing protected the set in its large box. No variations have been noted on the box, but the inner packaging varied only between early and later issues due to the different sizes of the Land Rover tilt. Nearly 500,000 sets were sold until withdrawal in 1968. But in common with most Chipperfield's items, the set is difficult to find in perfect and complete condition. Later, in 1962, saw the release of arguably the most colourful of all Chipperfield's items. Gift set number 23 contained the crane truck, 2 animal cages, the booking office, and the contents of gift set 19, the Land Rover and elephant cage. The models were set into a moulded polystyrene base contained in a cardboard base, and covered by a highly colourful box lid showing all the models in a circus scene. 2 sets of animals were bagged in cellophane, and the usual transfers and instruction leaflets completed the set. Inner packing was just a single piece of white cardboard, and the lid was sellotaped to the base from the factory. Variations through the years were confined to the differences in the individual models already discussed. However, in 1964, the set was re-released with a new model to take the place of the booking office. This new model was released in 1964 as item number 503, Circus Giraffe Transporter with Giraffes, yet another long title. The vehicle was another clever revamp of an existing model. The Bedford TK chassis had a blue plastic high-sided body with a hinged drop-down flap fitted. Chipperfield's circus labels adorned either side, and a mother and baby giraffe completed the charming model. No variation has been noted to the box or its cardboard packing, but the model can come with shaped, cast, or much larger truck wheels, which came along later, and is rare. The giraffes can have light or dark markings, and the grille spray masking varies according to wheel type. Sales of nearly 1 million models before withdrawal in 1971 makes this model the easiest to find in mint and boxed condition. The large gift set 23 was altered to include this new transporter, and the polystyrene base was remolded to suit. However, the lid to this set was not altered and continued to show the booking office instead of this new model. This later set was packed with animals and transfers as before, but the base and models were shrink-wrapped to protect the models in transit. This kept the contents in place, and the lid was not sellotaped to the base. With the early sets available with Land Rovers with different tilts, cages and different wheels, elephant cages in different colours, there must be a number of different sets. However, only about 75,000 were produced, and to have just one of these beautiful items should satisfy most collectors. 1962 saw the release of another Chipperfield's item. Number 1130 was the horse transporter. Issued in a card box and on a display base, the transporter was an articulated vehicle pulled by the familiar Bedford TK tractor unit. Painted in red and with a blue plastic upper half, the trailer unit has 3 drop-down flaps that opened to reveal 6 superbly moulded horses in brown, or more commonly, grey. These had gold-painted hooves and bridles. The only major variations were to the wheels, and the 3 types are shown here. The wheels could be shaped, cast, or the large truck type. The horse picture label on the rear could be red or green in colour. No box variations have been noted, and the packing consisted of individual packing around the horses and a white cardboard sleeve to protect the model in its box. With sales of over 500,000 until withdrawal in 1971, the model is far from rare, but again, it is difficult to find in perfect condition. In 1963, Corgi released a separate elephant cage and elephant. This was the same as the item issued in gift set 19, but in kit form. The elephant is different in that it is made in two halves instead of the previous solid construction. With sales of only 40,000, this item is rare in unbuilt condition. It was not until 1965 that Corgi released number 487, Chipperfield Circus Land Rover parade vehicle. This was yet another revamp of an existing Corgi model, the election Land Rover model number 472. Colours were red and blue, and Chipperfield's labels were applied to either side of the vehicle. A clown holding a raised hat and microphone was accompanied by a chimpanzee complete with a yellow skirt. The blue plastic body featured two large megaphone loudspeakers, and a "Circus is Here" label was fixed to the bonnet. No box or model variations have been noted, and cardboard inner packing completed the package. Withdrawn in 1969, it is usually the chimp that is missing from this scarce model. We had to wait until 1968 for the next circus model. Number 1139, Chipperfield's Menagerie, sold only just over 50,000 pieces before withdrawal in 1972. It is a rare and desirable model. The Scammell Handyman tractor unit towed a flatbed trailer that carried 3 plastic animal cages. These cages contained lions, tigers, and brown bears, all in pairs. The clear cages had printed cardboard bases and perspex bubbles containing the animals. Each cage had an upward sliding door to release the figures, and on one side had a large red transfer reading Chipperfield Circus and Menagerie. A red plastic eye on top enabled the cages to be lifted off the vehicle. The trailer unit detached and would stand on its own. Self-adhesive pads were supplied on a strip to mount the animals permanently on their bases. Black elastic held the cages on the bed of the red and blue trailer. A Chipperfield's label on the cab headboard completed this delightful model. The only major variation to the model was the front wheel hubs, and both types are shown. The model was issued in a window box and set in a polystyrene moulding. A protective cardboard cover was fitted to prevent damage. 1969 saw the release of another remake using existing castings. Number 1144, Chipperfield Circus Crane, was a model made from 5 existing castings. Most obvious was the crane assembly from our old friend, the 6-wheeled crane. Painted in the familiar red and blue, this model came complete with a plain cage from the Menagerie, which contained a moulded plastic rhino, as issued in the Volkswagen Safari set. A Chipperfield's label was applied to the cab headboard, and a Come to the Circus label was fixed to the near side only of this crane. The only major variation is to the front wheel hubs, and both types are shown. The model was issued in a window box and contained in a plastic moulding to prevent the model moving around. With sales of around 50,000, this is another rare item today. Number 511, Chipperfield's Performing Poodles, was issued in 1970 and withdrawn a year later. This was yet another repaint of an existing Corgi model. The red and blue Chevrolet van came on a moulded plastic base, which included a lady dog trainer, complete with 6 poodles. 2 were black and stood beside each other on the circular green plastic base, whilst 3 white poodles, joined together, sat on top of it. Another white poodle sat begging in front of them. A clear plastic bubble covered this set, keeping them in place within the box. The window display box shows off this model to the best extent, but disappointing sales of just under 100,000 makes this a rare item. The very last item to carry the Chipperfield's label was the largest and possibly most desirable of them all. Gift set 21 included the Scammell crane truck, complete with an elephant and cage, as in gift set 19. It towed a modified Menagerie trailer which had the articulating front wheel assembly from the original animal cages fitted. The models were contained in a polystyrene base and displayed in a window box, along with an extremely colourful protective cardboard cover. It was issued in 1970, being withdrawn 2 years later, with sales as low as 20,000 units. And this large boxed set represents the holy grail to most Corgi Chipperfield collectors. This concludes the Chipperfield collection, and you have seen some of the most desirable and elusive Corgi models. Although not strictly a circus item, as the Chipperfield family also ran Longleat Safari Park, this model, the Lions of Longleat Gift Set 8, is a direct relative. The window box contained a white Land Rover complete with zebra-type markings and a nylon cage on the load deck. A warden, complete with gun, sat in the roof of the vehicle. The 3 lion figures had their own plastic den and 3 moulded pieces of meat. A red plastic water barrel completed the set, and all were fitted into a polystyrene base. A colourful cardboard protective sleeve was fitted around the models to provide transit protection. This would fold upwards to form a header card when sold in the shops. Variations on the model are confined to wheels alone, and both types are shown here. The set was altered in 1973 to include whiz wheels and a different packaging. This version is not shown here. Withdrawn in 1974, the set sold in excess of 300,000 items, but is scarce in perfect condition. In 1978, Corgi released a completely different circus set. The Jean Richard circus set number 48 was a superb item with 4 printed cardboard pieces which made up into a circus ring and backdrop. Plastic accessories included 2 seating stands, 6 flagpoles with paper flags, 12 segments of circus ring, a seesaw and a drum for the elephant, a clown, ringmaster, 2 horses, a gorilla, bear, a human cannonball figure, complete with safety net, and a trapeze artist with harness to slide along the metal wire provided. The red and yellow vehicles were adorned with Pinder Jean Richard labels and were all available separately, as follows. This window box set, available as gift set number 30, contains the Land Rover station wagon with roof speakers in blue, towing an animal trailer. The clown, polar bear and gorilla completed this set. Variations were confined to the wheels, either red or chrome. This set was issued from 1979 to 1980 and sold around 60,000. Number 1163 was the human cannon truck. The Berlier chassis unit carried a large blue cannon which would fire a silver-plated figure on releasing a catch on the cannon body. No variations have been found on either model or box. The model was issued in 1979 and after selling 77,000 items was withdrawn in 1980. The new booking office was based on the Chevrolet van and was given the same catalogue number of 426, the Chipperfield's item of several years previous. Red and yellow in colour, the model had a hinged canopy and steps at the rear, as well as 2 loudspeakers on the roof. Variations are confined to wheels, both types being shown here. Only 27,000 of this model were sold separately, and only 1 other item completed the large boxed circus gift set, and the animal trailer without its red nylon cage. This was for use as an utility trailer and was not released separately. This trailer could have red or chrome wheels as per the Land Rover and cage set. All in all, a superb set with fantastic play value. Sales of over 60,000 before withdrawal do not reflect the difficulty in obtaining this set in unused condition. But the separately boxed models are plentiful in supply and easy to find.